good evening to all. Welcome to Melanated Mondays. I hope you are here to get your Mondays melanated. All right, y'all. You know what it is. Roll call. All right, Miss Dee Dee.
What up, y'all? It's just Dee Dee, and I'm ready to get into it. Let's go.
Miss Destiny.
Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm so excited for today's podcast.
And Miss Nikita.
Hey, everyone. We have a great conversation for you today.
Hi, y'all. I'm Demi, and I hope you are here to chat it up with us. We are missing two of our counterparts today, Miss April J. and Miss Gabrielle. Hopefully, we'll see them next time. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get into this segment. Let's start off with Nikita as she tells us what women have been doing in this history, baby. Go ahead, Nikita.
So this week, as we continue to celebrate Women's History Month, we will be highlighting another powerful Black woman who was and still is a part of our Black history, Miss Angela Davis. And as you guys can see, I've got my little Angela Davis afro going on today.
Okay. And you rocked it. Yes.
Miss Angela Davis is a political activist, philosopher, academic, and author of over 10 books on class, feminism, race, and the U.S. prison system. A highly educated woman, Miss Davis received her education in French at Brandeis University and studied philosophy at the University of Frankfurt and West Germany, and earned her master's degree at the University of California. Later, she also went on to earn her doctorate at the Humboldt University of Berlin. Ms. Davis is known as a radical feminist, activist, and affiliation with the Black Panther Party. Even more famously, she is also known as a member of the Communist Party USA. Angela Davis's history has been very controversial. However, what we cannot say is that this smart woman has ever acted as anyone but her true self. She is a revolutionist with a strong backbone who sticks up for what she believes in and does not falter no matter who she faces or whatever the cost to her personally. And for that, we honor her legacy that she has created.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I hear no lies.
Listen, she sounds like a boss to me. That's what she sounds like. So
straight up,
I'm here for it all.
Here for every bit of it. And Angela Davis, you continue to fight the good fight. We love you. I myself am inspired tremendously by you. And I didn't know your accolades until, Miss Nikita here. And why do I be talking to these people like they actually gonna be watching our podcast? Maybe one day you will. So if you do, we love you. So all the badass women in the world, so many of us, because we do so many things. We all know, excuse me, we all know James Brown said, this is a man's world and all. And that may be true, but who really runs it? Well, in my opinion, Queen Beyonce said it best. It's the girl. Yes, it is. And so over the centuries with our, American democracy, there's been rumors that stated that, a lot of the first ladies were really the ones pulling the strings behind the curtains, as far as presidential orders went. I am not here to say whether that is true or not. I have no idea. Could very well be a myth. But what I can tell you is there is no need for that curtain anymore. Thanks to Kamala Harris and all of the amazing women who really broke barriers for us. We don't have to worry about that. However, we all know that there are still problems in the corporate world, in the military world. I mean, there's still women fighting to get unemployment for maternity leave. I mean, there's still women who are getting paid less than men whom they even might be the boss of. I mean, there are so many cases, there's so many things going where women are still fighting for equality or even to be acknowledged, for the work that we do. I said do for the work that we do. So, with that, our topic, what do you feel? How do you feel about, women? Do you feel that we are equal? Do you feel that, have you been treated equally in the workplace when it comes to male versus well? How do you guys feel about it?
Definitely not at all whatsoever. I know from my experience, everybody may have their own experience, so it may be different. But for me, I definitely do not feel that we are equal. I still think society feel women as weak and as if though we be as equal to as men when it comes to physical strength, one, education, professionalism, work ethic. And to be quite honest, I feel like a lot of women are or can be better than men in the workplace, to be quite honest. My career field in the military is, I won't say predominantly men, but it kind of is, it's a common field. So you see more men than you see women where in my unit that I was in. And so I was only woman in a whole office full of men the whole time. My supervisor was a woman, but she just oversee things. She didn't really do anything, but everybody else was men. And it came to a point where they was trying to hand me off just like a little paperwork to file and stuff, while they were handling the big boy stuff, like fixing the computers, breaking it down, taking. And I was like, hey, first of all, I went to school for the same thing y'all went for. We both the same AFSC. Okay. So if you could do it, that means I could do it. So it got to a point where I had to put my foot down, was like, I'm just as good as y'all, or if anything, I'm better than y'all. And it's not trying to be cocky, but at the same time being confident and saying, hey, you're not going to make me feel as if though I'm subpar and I can only do this because I'm a woman. Yeah, I like filing and putting papers together and being all cute with stationery stuff. Baby, I can get down and dirty. Don't play with me. So It kind of, it sucks because I think that's the view of society and that's the view of men when it comes to women. And I think that comes also back to how men see women where we're supposed to be, which is probably at home, in the house, cooking, taking care of kids, in the family, which don't get me wrong, I do that too. And I love it. But at the same time, I can kill it in the workforce as well, And so, but I definitely do think we are not equal at all whatsoever. Do I think we are maybe getting there a little bit? I still feel women have to compete and we have to work just as hard to prove ourselves that we're just okay. Yeah, exactly. Just to be.
And as a Black woman, 3 times as hard, maybe even 4 times.
It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So, and with my husband being, his AFC is crew chief, and it's crazy because they have women in their AFC. They don't have many, but they have some. And sometimes he'll make comments about how the women don't, they really don't put in the work like the other men. And I'm like, no, don't do that. I was like, because they probably better than you are, better than the next airman. I was like, but because y'all see her as a woman, y'all think, oh, she can't get down and dirty. But in the end, she probably can. And so, but it has come time. My husband has actually preferred, or he has admitted that those women that are on his shift actually are great workers. But I think in society, they are, I don't want to say trained, but that's what it kind of feels like. They're trained to already think, oh, you're only capable of doing this, so just stay in your lane.
Yeah, like it's a surprise. So, oh, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, wow. Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Did you see my resume?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. Girl, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think that, excuse me, I don't think it's equal. I also agree. I think that we're moving in the direction of becoming more equal, but I don't think that
absolutely
we're there at all. Especially being Black women, we face a lot more of the stereotypes or the prejudice or whatever in the workplace, or even like, I know you mentioned sports or like fitness. Physically we are different than a man, and so they look at us and immediately think that we're weak. And there's so many different areas that I can think of when I think of comparing myself to a man, and even like abortion, something that's been like a huge topic, with like Planned Parenthood closing and losing funding and stuff like that, and not having the access to birth control. It's just like how it sucks that we have to do so much to express the fact that we should be equal. And something as simple as birth control, having access to birth control, or abortion, if you're not prepared for it, like, why do we have to do so much for something? And a man can go to the store and buy condoms for it, or erectile dysfunction medication. Like, it's just it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. But I think that we are, like you said, we are kind of working our way into becoming more equal, but it's going to take a lot of work. Of course, on our male counterparts side, they definitely need to help advocate. Just like, how with Black Lives Matter, the movement, how
we need allies.
Exactly. So, y'all.
I agree. Nikita, how you feel about it? You over there quiet with your Angela Davis fro on? You gotta say something.
I don't even need to take a couple sips because this is a topic that I'm super passionate about. And excuse me if I start rambling, but
go ahead. The floor is yours.
So mad. And I just get so frustrated. So I'm going to give you an example. It's not like a professional woman in a workplace example, but I read a post today about like that kind of just represented how imbalanced the roles are between men and women. And I think it's very ironic that men, or people in general, really have they don't have much faith in women and what they're capable of. And I find it really odd and confusing because, like, as an example, a mom is responsible in our society. A woman is responsible for taking care of the house and managing tasks, chores, bills, kids, her freaking husband, everything associated with the house she is responsible for. That is supposed to be her domain. But then, she has all of these responsibilities and she's thinking of all of these things all the time. She has to managing a house is like managing a business. And in order for it to run efficiently, there has to be plans and schedules and tasks and chores that need to be completed at a certain time. And if it doesn't get done, then everything gets thrown off. So imagine having to run a business and take care of children and take care of your husband by yourself. And then on top of that, also having to work a full-time job. And then on top of that, still needing to tell your husband or ask your husband to take the trash out. Like, we hear this argument all the time. Women say, I shouldn't have to tell you to take the trash out. You should just know to do it. And men will say, oh, well, no, you need to tell me. I can't read your mind. I'm like, that's like real obvious stuff. Like, you're a part of this household. You're not one of the kids. I'm working too outside of the house. And I also have to come home to a full-time job and to a husband who does not work to support me in the house because he thinks what exactly. And then what Demi was saying, this makes me so mad because these women, they go into the workplace and they work their asses off and they're not recognized for it, and men and people still think that they're not capable of anything or as much. And you're just like, where's this idea that I am not capable of doing this task that you're capable of just because I'm a woman and you're a man? Like, where does that come from? All the things that I have to do in my life, all the things that I have to remember, like, you could tell a man to go take out the trash, but like, will he think about taking out all the trash in the house? Probably not. You probably have to tell him to do that. And I just don't. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Well, okay. So I completely agree. How is it that we are looked at as, why you have to second guess why we are capable of doing our jobs when we have like 75 of them most of the time? Whether you are, especially when you have dependents. And when I say dependents, I include husband independence as well, whether you are a military spouse or whether you are in the military, because it is very true that they depend on us as well. If you have dependents, your job is twice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times as hard as any male, even if it's a present male in the household most of the time, because there are, I'm not even gonna say most of the time, I'm gonna say in general synopsis as far as what I have encountered, what Destiny has encountered, what Nikita has encountered, what Demi has encountered, is women who are more than capable of bearing a heavy load and still looked at as fragile. And furthermore, just really to end this whole conversation, femininity should not be in the same category. Femininity should not be looked at as a weakness, because it is not. Just like masculinity should not be looked at as strong all the time. We shouldn't expect them to be strong and emotionless, and you shouldn't expect us to have to sacrifice all of the self-care to take care of you and still be under-recognized and underappreciated in the work, in the corporate world. Period.
Absolutely.
I agree. And Nikita, everything you were saying is so true. But
I'm like,
it is so true. But you want to know? Listen, it was speaking to my soul. But listen, what I am grateful for is that one thing I ain't never in 10 years had to tell my husband to take out no trash. That's one thing I never told him to do, because he hated trash piling up as much as I do. He get on me about the trash, because one, I'm not gonna take trash out, but I do keep piling stuff in there. And he'd be like, babe, if you see it, help me out. And I'd be like, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? So what? But then at the same time, I'd be like, okay, you're right. I don't need to be piling this thing. I don't need to be piling it in there if I know it's already full. So let me just set it to the side, so when the next trash clean come, I can throw that in there. But I never once had to tell him to take out the trash. He's always done that. But at the same time, like going back to Didi, they do depend on us. I kid you not. And still to this day, and I think it's because women are homemakers. We are. That's naturally what we are. We are homemakers.
Most women.
Exactly. Most women. Yes.
Cisgendered women.
Yes. We are homemakers. So, we want our house to look nice, or we clean, and we like to, for most women, like to take care of, what I mean? So it's easier for our men or our husbands to automatically depend on us for things. Just like easily for my husband to call, be like, hey, I'm getting off work, and so is he. Hey, babe, what you cooking for dinner? What we having for dinner tonight? I haven't even thought about dinner, because I'm thinking about what the girls got going on for school and what I need to do with them before I start dinner. But then that also gets my head like, okay, well, what do you want for dinner? And it's more so what they want versus what I want. But I think as a woman, not as a woman, as a mother and a wife, when you become those things, it's easier. I won't say it's the best thing, but it's easy for you to become selfless and put yourself last to take care of others in your household, because you want them taken care of and, and happy. But at the same time, it's draining, it's stressful. And then, it's, you left by yourself, because then you are left with the burden of everything else that needs to happen and being taken care of. And I also too, and I always tell my friends, we joke about our men all the time being babies, because they are one of our children. They are completely. When people say how many kids you have, I don't say 3 now, I say 4. I have 4. And sometimes I add the dog into there. I got 5. Okay. So listen, but I joke with my friends, because we joke around about our husbands, but in reality, we also have to step back and take a look at why are they like that too. We have spoiled our men. We have spoiled our men. We have taken care of them to their every need, to where they ain't got to ask, get up, do for nothing, because we are right, girl. We are right there. Go ahead, girl.
Because I'm gonna touch you. I'm gonna touch your heart real quick. It's because we set those boundaries. Self-care is our responsibility. And guess what?
Yes.
It is a necessity. Because if you don't take care of yourself, then you're gonna end up crashing. And when you do, you're gonna have to take that time anyway. And then when you come back, you got 4 times more the work that you had if you could have just set your ass down in the first place.
Girl. So, exactly.
Lady, take care of yourself. Tell your husband, no, not this weekend. This weekend, I am going to go to the spa. And whatever you and the children decide to do, I hope you have a great time. I'll be part of it, okay? Have fun. See you on Sunday. All right.
Listen, that's how it gotta be. That's how it gotta be. But if you do have a good man, your man will look out for you before you look out for yourself. I see my husband doing that more than I do. Now for a while, he's done that. He'll be like, babe, you need a break. You need to get out the house. Go. Even when I feel like I don't want to, he's like, go, get out the house. I had the kids, and I'm like, are you sure though? You know how to do this, this, and that? He's like, baby, they my kids too. And I'm like, but I'm just making sure you're gonna be okay. He'd be like, leave, go, have some fun. And so, it's
a true
when you have a man, yes. And then that's where that support comes in, like Nikita was saying. Yes. If you have a real man that is really there for you and understands you, and it's not, I think too, it comes down to a competition. Who's worked more during the day? Who is more tired? Mm-hmm. When that no longer becomes a problem, then you really have your spouse's support or your husband's support or your man's support. And now he looks at you as someone who is putting in work, and saying, okay, well, she also had a hard day at work, or she's probably tired. So let me go ahead and cook. Let me go ahead and get the kids. Let me go ahead and do this. But then again, I think that's maturity. That comes down to maturity, and it also comes down to upbringings too, and how people were raised.
And maybe growth, or maybe unlearning certain upbringings. It's not always about certain things. It's about getting rid of those toxic thoughts and those toxic things that some of us may or may not have seen growing up. Yes. And so it's not, I don't think, like Destiny was saying, yes, this is an issue for women, but we need allies. At the end of the day, it's a partnership. And the same things that we look for in, people joke about work husbands and stuff like that, which, I'm not going to share my opinion on that, but the thing about those same partnerships that we look for in a household, we also look for in a workplace. I mean, people who work, in certain places spend most of their time with these people. Mm-hmm. And you don't even get a chance to know these people. You don't even look at their background. You don't even ask them what they got going on. You just assume that because that they're women or because of because they're feminine, that it's a possibility that most likely we don't know what we're doing. Yeah. So let's stop that and Moving forward with podcasts to follow.
Okay, so our podcast to follow this week is the Hey Girl podcast by Alex L. She is a full-time freelance writer, author, poet, and small business owner, and her career focuses heavily on writing and holistic healing from the inside out. Her written work is an embodiment of her passion for self-care and self-love. The podcast that I mentioned, the Hey Girl podcast, is basically a lot of interviews with different women that she finds inspirational, that have like a past in healing or art, or it's just a women from all walks of life. But they talk about healing, of course, self-care, self-love, strength, and so many more things. I actually have one of her books. It's called After the Rain. And so it's an amazing book. So for anyone who's working on healing, self-care, self-love, just finding themselves, I think this is a really good book. She talks about her past, her history, and finding herself, and how she became who she is now. And each chapter kind of goes through a different, I guess, phase in her life. There's a chapter that she talks about her childhood and how her mother wasn't really as affectionate as she would have, liked to. And so she kind of sees how she is with her kids. And so just going through stuff like that, reading and doing journaling is all inside of this book. So if y'all are interested in it, definitely check her out. Her Instagram page is Alex_L. The podcast is called Hey Girl Podcast. The book is called After the Rain, and she actually has a journal that goes with this as well. I think it's called Of Courage or something like that. But it's all on Amazon, or you can check her out on Instagram.
That's really dope. Destiny, I have a question. So I don't listen to podcasts much. I've only listened to one podcast my whole life. How do you listen to the podcast? Is it through not Amazon, sorry, Apple? Where do you go to listen to the podcast?
So I listen to it on Spotify, but if you don't have Spotify, you can do Google Play or Google Podcasts, Spotify, like I said. Apple Music has the Apple Podcast app. Okay. There's Stitcher. There's a bunch of different ones out there if you don't have like any of the main, I guess, podcast apps.
Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna check her out. She sounds dope too. She sounds like a queen.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that After the Rain out, because Lord knows, well, I'm a bookie. I love to read, so yes, give me a good book, and I'm good to go. Okay, with that, we're gonna go ahead and leave you with something to start marinating on right now. I mean, if you start to put that beef in that marinade right now, it's gonna come out pretty good. What are we talking about? Voting, people. As somebody who is a resident of Texas, it is clear to me now, crystal clear, how important it is to vote for your state and locals, okay? They are the ones who control all of the things that are happening in the place that you reside. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna share my political views or even who I'm gonna be voting for. I'm just here to tell you, we, the melanated people, are here to tell you, if you care to exercise your right to vote, because, democracy, right? Register now, right now. That way when May comes, we good to go, y'all. Let's get it done. Okay? All right.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's podcast. I hope that you all have enjoyed our topic, and I hope that you have gained something from it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. And follow us on all social media platforms, and we will see you next Monday for our next podcast. Bye.